Alright, what is going on YouTube? Second round of Hidden Cup for qualifiers, BacT versus SongSong coming up over here. I will not actually have a long intro here because this is live games and they just started playing, so it is better if we jump into the games right away. But Koreans and Aztecs are the global bands. BacT will be playing with Franks, Huns, Italians, Mongols, Malay, Portuguese. Other side is SongSong with Celts, Berbers, Mayans, Bulgarians, Cumans, and Chinese. Snipes were Vikings and Byzantines respectively. The Byzantine snipe is interesting from BacT because in the previous round SongSong actually played against Angelo Lee and went for a very aggressive spear and skirm tower aggression against his opponent. In fact, BacT is the sort of rusty but conventional player, whereas SongSong is in a pretty good shape, but he's a little bit of an out-of-the-box thinker. A lot of the strategy that he's using is super aggressive, unconventional overall, as we will jump into the first game over here, which obviously is going to be Arabia. So, give me a moment to switch there, and we will be able to get going. So this is the second round. Once again, a best of 5 in between these two players, as I welcome you to Arabia. BacT is playing Franks in blue over here. Other side will be Chinese play from SongSong. So the thing is that based on the previous round's performances, as I said before the stream here, I feel like BacT's ceiling is higher in skill than SongSong's ceiling, but his bottom is also lower. So it really depends on what type of BacT we are seeing over here. If we are seeing the same BacT that played against Ganji last week, I think SongSong's got a good shot, because BacT is having some massive consistency issues. Like, sometimes he's dominating games, sometimes he's like full Titanic. And really, that can change even within the games. So, if BacT plays to his better skill level, he doesn't even have to play his best games, then he's gonna have no major issue dealing with SongSong, who's a mechanically less evolved player, so to say. However, SongSong could surprise with unconventional strategies like he did in last week. He could also go for super aggressive strategies that could knock BacT off his rhythm. So far, we have Chinese picked over here for SongSong, and that could be a conventional play from him. So, we are gonna have SongSong coming up here with the front wood line. Overall, his map isn't looking that amazing, if you ask me. Left side is pretty open, the stone on the front is not nice. The gold at the back is sort of borderline, I would say. Easy to wall off left side. But the bigger question is really this wood line, because overall the wood lines aren't great for SongSong. They're pretty far out from the TC, and this one is also going to be on the front. Other side, BacT's base has forward gold, and another one that's actually pretty exposed. Depending on how BacT is walling, he might be able to secure a lot of gold for himself. So if he decides he wants to wall something like this, which would be absolutely possible, or something like this, he would have double secondary golds. This gold is a little too hard to protect, although the positive here for BacT is that this is an easy wall off on the left, which means that he can just wall this off quickly and focus on walling this one off over here. And this forest is ending here, so it would make a lot of sense to try and wall something like barracks, stable, and then some palisades over here, and that should be alright for our Frankish players. So versatility-wise, I really like Chinese over here over Franks. But obviously, it also depends on what exactly SongSong is going to be playing, as that is a lame attempt by BacT. The scout is actually pretty weak over here, though, from him. So this is still tricky, because that boar could actually go back. Now, the fact that BacT is laming is already meaning that I think that he knows exactly that he has to be super aggressive here to be competitive. The boar de-aggroes, so have I mentioned that... I'm not sure what happened here for BacT. I think he realized that he won't be able to lame that boar away, and now he's just trying to save his scout. But at the end of the day, I feel like, once again, what I'm saying actually starts to make sense for you guys maybe as well. That BacT's performance is like extremely inconsistent. Like, this one was an absolute disaster lame attempt, and if you think about that, laming a boar away all the way from here is like something that you should never try. We had some discussions about that in King of Desert when I was casting with Nikov, for example, that boars that are at the back of the opponent's base is not something that you can lame, otherwise your opponent potatoes pretty hard. Now, this actually knocks SongSong out of his rhythm a little bit, but if you take a look at this one, still 30 seconds, TC idle time, actually less villager idle time than his opponent. The 30 seconds TC idle time is actually pretty nice for Chinese as well, so it's not like this actually hurts SongSong that much. Obviously, it wasn't ideal, but it's far from actually damaging SongSong's eco considerably. Whereas BacT, he lost a lot of HP on that scout, and that scout is extremely important because that scout would be meant to potentially keep walls open until his friends arrive. So, for example, that scout cannot just come in now and deny that villager from walling over here. Interesting is the fact that SongSong kind of stopped making this wall over here. That's a little weird. Anyways, BacT is going for a 20 pop scouts build, but with one scout very weak already, he's gonna need at least 2 more scouts on the field before he can actually move out to attack, as he's now pushing in there with that. So, for that, he's gonna need to wait a little bit, and that means that SongSong could just play a little bit more defensive, as he's gonna be almost fully walled. We'll see what BacT does against those walls, as he's gonna wall like this. This is once again a wall I don't like. The thing is that if your opponent is going archers, and that's definitely possible with Chinese, he could deny this gold mine. He even has the hill to hold over here. I think there is even a small hill here. This is a really bad wall for BacT. This is not supposed to happen. Unless you have a safe gold, but this is the type of gold where you have to wall in front, I think. And it would have been doable. Don't ask me why this barracks is over here. This makes zero sense. You could just make a house and a palisade here to achieve the same thing as you did with the barracks. And what you would do is barracks, stable, and then you would just wall in front over here. It would be a little bit of an extra walling, but it would secure that gold much, much better than this current walling does. This is actually not doing much. And what are we having over here? Villagers on gold. I think he doesn't really want to go for any gold units at the beginning. It's just a matter of he needs something to collect with these villagers until he's waiting. Anyways, SongSong will be fully walled over here, adding villagers to gold with just 23 up. That should be about a minute arms timing from him, but as I said, SongSong is sort of an out-of-the-box thinker, so it is very possible, as he's trying to trap that scout over there, so it is very possible that he's just going to try and play standard, or somewhat unconventional here. Now, he has to be careful, because in many places I'm not 100% sure that he's walled. He's gonna do a quick wall, but there is no villagers to garrison the TC, so the scout will survive. Now his opponent is also in feudal, so eventually the scout is gonna go down BacT right now, just trying to be annoying and running around as much as possible. Anyways, here come the scouts, here come the spearmen. Luckily for BacT, his gold mine here isn't something that is gonna get immediately punished, because his opponent is playing very, very defensive, and so defensive that it sort of seems like we're just gonna have a feudal age boom here from SongSong. Now remember, in the previous round, he went for a super aggressive Byzantine forward spear and skirm strategy. The direct opposite of what he played over here. Normally, I wouldn't be a fan of just a boom over here from the Chinese player in feudal. However, against Franks, that will definitely open with scouts, so they won't really be able to get through walls very easily at the beginning. They will need to add skirms or towers to do that, like see. Right now, it's only scouts. By the way, BacT, I think... Yeah, he's just noticing that that wall is open. By the way, this could have been a disaster if he was up against scouts. Scouts could already be in his eco, but yeah, against Franks, wall up and play eco-heavy approach is definitely something that is viable for SongSong here. And the reason why I like this play from him, normally I'm not a big fan of this, but the reason why I like it is because in the previous series that he played in this tournament, in the previous round, he went for full aggressive aggro strategies. And because of that, BacT might have also expected that. The fact that he banned Byzantines means that I think BacT expected a very aggressive play here in the first game. And this is the direct opposite. So this was very, very unpredictable here for SongSong, which I really like overall. Now, he's gonna have the power of Chinese farming. So 17 already on food, and really it's just booming to castle age here. Now, Franks can do pretty much the same, but obviously they will get beaten to castle a little bit, and also, yeah, the Franks have the cheaper, or not cheaper, but in fact free horse color, whereas SongSong does not. However, he was able to get it before dropping the farms, and also he's got the extra food on the farms with the Chinese anyways, so this is actually looking pretty nice. And now you could make a case for SongSong to just go up into Castle Age and potentially go for camels. Because his opponent is likely going to play knights, and a camel play here could actually be something I could really justify. I honestly like SongSong's game plan over here. Because I think that BacT was expecting a very aggressive play over here. Now BacT, on the other hand, I think he's doing what he has to. He knows that his opponent is fully walled and there is little hope of getting into his base. So he's actually using his field age units to scout the map. So if you take a look at the map, that's actually very, very good map vision for BacT. So as bad as it is for him that he's unable to get into the opponent's base, it is actually pretty nice overall for him that he's able to scout the map with those units, and he's not going to be that much behind in terms of cast stage time. That's going to be a solid 45 seconds to a minute disadvantage, but still, that is going to be completely fine for him. And I would think that SongSong is going to have to play with Camels here at the beginning. So Camels Monks versus potentially Knights Monks. We'll see what BacT does though, because as I said, I feel like Chinese have a little bit more versatility. One of the reasons why I'm saying that is because they have Camels available up against those Knights, whereas the Frankish player might need to go for Pikemen here. The problem is that if the Frankish player goes for Pikemen, the Chinese player could very well open Archers as well. So I really like the idea of SongSong also hiding that stable, because BacT is gonna have no idea what he's up against, and that's extremely important. BacT doesn't know if it's Archers and he should go for Knights, or if it's Camels and he should go for Pikemen. And by the time he's gonna realize, his opponent is gonna have a step advantage. So, we are gonna have Bloodlands coming in right now for SongSong, and SongSong is also expecting Knights over here, potentially Pikemen, because he's getting the attack upgrade first. In this situation, attack upgrade actually is better. Defense upgrade is better if you're up against Archers, but for me that actually means that SongSong knows that he's not up against Archers, and we are gonna have Knights, interestingly. Now, you could definitely open Knights here because your opponent is still Feudal Age. However, eventually that's gonna be Knight and Camel, or almost exclusively Camel. From SongSong. So, with that, now it actually is a change to a Camel, so he is apparently going to be going for full Camel play, 3 TCs, so very, very eco-heavy approach. Over here, we are gonna have 2 TC play, it seems like, from BacT, and he's going for the early Monastery. Now, I think that SongSong should have also opened Monastery here instead of a 3rd TC, because the thing is that in such Knight versus Camel wars, Monasteries could be extremely important, but this is gonna give him a nice little edge when it comes to early eco as well. Maybe that's why you should do a combo of Knights, Archers for Franks, because I think you don't have the eco to afford both of those with reasonable upgrades. So just a couple of Archers won't actually kill the Camels. In order to be efficient against the Camels, you need at least Crossbow with Fletching, and that's already an investment, plus the Archer range is very expensive. So the main problem that you're facing when you are going for unit compositions early on instead of just a single type of unit is that you can't afford it. So this is why it's pretty rare that you see unit compositions being used in early game. It's almost exclusively Archers, or like Archer Skirm, but basically a certain type of a unit from one specific building. So it's all either Archer range units or it is stable units. So, we are gonna have pre-TC boom over here from SongSong. BacT is gonna be coming in here with 2 TCs, and now the third one as well. The thing is that if SongSong mixes in his own monks as well, he's gonna have a very, very nice advantage here, because the thing is that Camel Monk is always gonna be better than Knight Monk in this situation. The real tricky thing, I think, for SongSong is gonna be that he is a little low on monks here. compared to his opponent. So 3 monks versus just finishing the second monk over here. That is going to be a little troublesome, especially if SongSong mismicros that monk. And that monk is gonna get killed. This is something that he shouldn't do though. Like, in fact, these are things that shouldn't happen for him because those monks are so crucial. The knights and monks will beat the camels here pretty easily. So if you convert 3 camels here, that's a disaster for SongSong. His eco seems better, so basically all he needs to do, easy to say, but it's just not dying. He needs to make sure that, okay, I can hold this hill, I can boom on 3 TCs, and he's also on stone, which means that eventually we'll get 2 canoes. Alright, so forward siege workshop coming in here for BacT. He's gonna go a little bit more aggro than his opponent will, but I think he kinda has to. He kinda has to go for a full aggro play here, because if SongSong gets a castle up, it's gonna be nearly impossible for him to push him. And really, all that SongSong needs to do is just hold this hill here. It's 4 monks against only 2. There's a third one as well coming in. Husbandry now in, and now the scouts will try to intercept those monks. Scouts actually getting, I think, 1 monk killed. But here's the big fight. 2 camels getting converted. And this looks pretty decent for BacT over here. Once again, the monk numbers weren't great, and the camels were a little bit mispositioned from SongSong. And in a fight like this could be enough for BacT to edge out to victory. And suddenly, we're talking about 21 army against 5. As I said, monks in such an engagement can actually decide the outcome of the fight. And that exactly is what happened. And now, it seems like SongSong is gonna get punished a little bit for example, not having more monks on the field, or potentially losing one at the beginning. Really, 1 or 2 monks are absolutely decisive in such an engagement. Trying to save the knights over here. Another conversion comes in for BacT. BacT also had a pretty big luck with the conversion RNG. It's still an eco lead for SongSong, so technically he's not dead yet, but from a situation where he was in a very good position to just stall this push out completely, now he's in a position where it's like, okay, we are having a bit of a trouble. Like, see, he lost 3 camels at least to conversion. Those are only the ones that actually survived the engagement. But look at this, another Voyager, or another camel getting killed over here, and he was also off from stone because of that. And in fact, he's really low on gold as well, has to reposition his wood line, and that's actually pretty scary now for him. I think that this is the moment where you have to start thinking about, maybe I need to buy myself a castle. But where do you even drop that castle? That's the question. You don't have the front of your base anymore. So, really, this is very tough right now for SongSong. He's trying to make a couple more knights out here. But, yeah, this is gonna be a tough one. Now, it seems like SongSong actually wants to go for 4 stables, potentially just overrun the opponent with knights. And one of the reasons why he's mixing in knights is because it's easier to kill monks with knights than it is to kill them with camels. And I think one of the reasons why the fight was that bad for him is because he was trying to snipe monks with camels, and that's just not something that works really well. Nice move over there from BacT as well. I think he's gonna get 2 or 3 more conversions once again, whereas SongSong's monks are completely idle. SongSong, what are you doing, man? And oh boy, as I said, I feel like if SongSong plays his better game, he's gonna be able to beat BacT, but this is not his better game. That was awful. Like, he did everything so well in this game, and then this is... I don't like to call games throws, because that's sort of disrespectful to a player, but this was a huge throw from him. An enormous throw. He had the eco lead, he had the unit composition, and really, like, you had one job, man. You just had to hold this hill with camels and monks, and don't let your monks get sniped. Just play passive, wait until you have the stone, drop the castle here, and you're fine. But that wasn't really the case. In fact, that didn't happen at all, and now he's dropping in villager count. Now, I'm not sure if this is worth it for BacT though, because, yeah, he's killing villagers. I mean, 12-0. But you also have to consider that the ecos are still pretty close, and BacT also lost a lot of knights over here, but this is one of the reasons why Franks are so strong on Arabia. Because they can follow up with a castle, and that's what's gonna happen. If BacT drops a castle here, he's gonna deny that stone, he will destroy 2 TCs with it, and I think that's the plan for him. He's waiting for the stone to pile up. He needs like 488, I think, for a castle. But remember what I said, the numbers aren't that great for BacT now. He still has the advantage, but it's not as decisive as it used to be. But here comes the castle. And if this castle goes up, it's GG, and it's going to be lost on the fact that SongSong took one bad fight. This is how Age of Empires can shape out in many instances. One bad fight and you lose the game. And BacT has had a pretty clean game over here. I liked SongSong's game plan, and really, there is only one thing for him to blame him for. So, with that, this is gonna be G to the G's. BacT takes game number 1 over here. I'm a little bit disappointed in SongSong's game plan because this could have become a very, very good, long, and grindy game. But then just one bad fight pretty much meant that, oh yeah, it's over. And if you just look at how this game shaped out overall, it was like, yeah, everybody's just booming into Castle Age, making knights camos, and then one fight and it's over. Oh man. But still, I have to credit BacT as well, because this was the better type of BacT that we have seen, and if he plays his best game, he's gonna be having a nice edge over his opponent over here. So, as I said, the main concern with BacT all the time is consistency. So we'll see if he can actually keep up this performance that he has had in this game. Alright, so we'll step back and take a look at the scores. As you see, here is today's program. BacT versus SongSong we start with, followed up by Viv versus Dragonstar, Jordan versus Kaposh, and Hart versus Rubenstock. The last series, I'll be casting that with T90 himself. So, those are gonna be interesting as well. Alright, so let's see if they actually updated the AoE zone post that they made, because they didn't post the home maps, that's why I didn't show them at the beginning. But now they did, so we can actually take a look. So, here are the home maps. BacT is picking Bay and Islands, SongSong is picking Slopes and Hideout. So Franks are gone. 2 home maps are missing. No, the home maps are not missing anymore. And oh, look at that, Baron is the one asking, because I think Robo is not available right now. So, Franks versus Chinese are gone. Chinese was the last pick over here. That's a huge steal, by the way, from SongSong, being able to grab Chinese in the final pick. So what do we believe in? Bay and Islands. Islands will be Italians versus what? Berbers, maybe? But what is Bay going to be then? SongSong is a little bit low on hybrid / water map saves. He tried playing conventional, didn't work out, and I have a strong feeling that now we could see something completely different from SongSong here. Something that's a lot more aggressive. We're going to see Slopes. And yeah, I was thinking about the fact that we could see Celts as a landing civ, but honestly, I think Slopes may be Bulgarians. That Bulgarians pick is really standing out as a sort of a unique one. And I'm tempted to say that Bulgarian Man-at-Arms opening might be something that is on the mind of SongSong. Like maybe a Bulgarian 20-pop Man-at-Arms build here from SongSong into maybe even Towers could be really something that SongSong considers. So I think that he's gonna play a lot more aggro now than he has done previously. So that would mean that Celts could be islands, or Berbers could be islands as well. Hideout is Cumans, I think. Cumans versus Malaya, maybe. Italians and Portuguese are both available for BacT. I think in that case, you could make a case for Italians being used on Bay and Portuguese being used on islands. That could be something as well. We'll see. But anyways, we are going to slopes over here. So Mongols could be one as well. I forgot about Mongols. Because I was focusing so much on Mongols for Bay. But Mongols could be a candidate for slopes here as well. In fact, that would be one of the best sifs or slopes. So something like Mongols versus Bulgarians could definitely be happening. Anyways, they're setting up game number 2 right now. And with that, I believe they'll get going in a brief moment. So SongSong is going to have to play a little bit more out of the box, I believe. But he was pretty much in the game before. It's a matter of taking one bad decision that can actually lose you the game. That's exactly what we experienced for SongSong over there. After that, as I said, after this series, we are gonna have Vivi versus Dragon Star, the best Indian player versus the Fat Dragon, and I think the 2 highlight matches of the day: Jordan versus Kaposh, 2 fan favorites, and Hart versus Ruben Stock, another 2 fan favorites. Both of those will be, I think, pretty competitive series, so it is gonna be an interesting one to take a look at that. So it seems like the players are ready, which means that we will get going in a matter of moments. So SongSong is more of a team game player. SongSong is more of a Nomad player. In fact, he's one of the better Nomad players out there. So if there was Nomad in the map pool, he would definitely play that. But there isn't. So he's actually forced to play standard-ish maps. Mechanically, he's not a bad player, but he's not necessarily among the best or fastest players. We have a game up, and I would say a somewhat unpredictable pick over here from SongSong. Maybe he wanted to counter pick BacT, and I think he was successful doing that. We have a Hans versus Berbers matchup. And the thing is that BacT picked Hans for this map in the previous round as well against Ganji, and maybe SongSong thought that, hey, BacT could actually be picking Hans here, so I'm gonna pick Berbers. And yeah, the Berbers pick is actually surprising in many, many ways, because you could think that it's for islands, you could think it's for Bay, but if you think about the fact that Berbers is basically a counter pick to Hans, they have everything that the Hans can do, right? They have very, very cheap and good knights. They can respond to Hans with camos. They can respond to Camel Archers with Camel Archers. So really, Berbers is sort of a counter pick here to the Hans play of the opponent. And I have to say that so far, SongSong comes in prepared here. Because previous game, I also felt like the Chinese is sort of a counter pick to the Franks, what we have seen. And this game especially, I'm feeling that he seems to know what BacT is thinking for civilization selections. BacT is going for this sort of obvious choices. He's really not being unpredictable here. He played Huns in the previous round on this map, and he's gonna play Huns right now as well. And it's not like Huns are an obvious civilization selection for this map. It's actually far from that. It's a good civ for this map. I really like the versatility of Huns here. But it's not like it's going to be a straightforward pick anyways, and we might see another boar lame attempt over here. Let's see if SongSong is gonna find that scout, because 2 geese will be pretty close to being lamed here. Indeed, I think BacT is gonna get at least 2 of them. Now, obviously, with the pond and hunt available here, it is somewhat less likely that SongSong is gonna have trouble with this, and I think he's gonna find 1 geese over here, and he's going to see that, hey, I'm actually getting lamed over here. And the thing is that in this case, you could actually make a case for trying to look for the left over here. Loses 1. The bigger question is losing the boars over here. And let's see if SongSong sees the lame attempt, because he will probably see that, like you see. Lame attempt is over there. The question is if he can stop this or not. He sees where the boar is running, so he knows exactly that his opponent will be looping all the way around. And look at that. He knows exactly that the lame is coming. BacT only took 8 damage from his scout because the boar was attacking up hills. But this is still going to be pretty tough for BacT to pull off, because here comes the scout to block. and you just have to block the opponent's scout here. What SongSong is doing isn't necessarily right. He can just attack the opponent's scout here. That is way too much HP on that scout to completely kill it with your own scout. What you have to do is either block the boar and simultaneously attack the opponent, because if you block the boar, the opponent is going to have to slow down, or the alternative is that you block the opponent's scout here. So really, SongSong isn't really reacting to this one very well. He just needs to block that boar, because it's still 5 hits, and oh boy, that's going to be a successful lane. That's going to be a successful lane, and SongSong didn't react to this one well. Oh, the boar goes back. The boar goes back just in time, and that scout is too weak. What a failure. What a failure this was. Now, SongSong is going to lose a lot of HP on his scout as well, but given the circumstances that he was 1 tile away from having that boar lame from him, in fact, he was already in range of the opponent's DC, so it was very, very close to it, and now BacT can't lame that boar anymore, because you will take at least 1 hit from the boar. It's impossible to do no hit, not impossible, but you have to have like a crystal clear timing to have a clean hit and not getting damaged by the boar. I think I've seen very, very few instances where it actually happens. So really, the best you can do is lose 10 HP on your scout after laming. And also remember that SongSong could have actually finished off that scout over there. You would need the board to be the uphill. It's not enough, Nerfox. Uphill's board damage is 8. Standard board damage is 10. You have 6 HP. There is absolutely no way you can use this scout to lame anymore. Other than laming sheep, obviously. So, with that, we have SongSong. Look at this. And this is what I'm talking about. SongSong is a very underrated player if you think about his skills. He's getting lamed. He had to catch up. He had to try to kill that scout. And in the meanwhile, he had 0 seconds TC idle time. 0 seconds. He has to add 1 farm because he's down 1 sheep. And it seemed like both players are playing this one just like Arabia. And now it looks like SongSong is going to say, okay, you're not pushing deer here, my friend. He was trying to push in the deer all the way from the edge because neither of the players are really willing to go out to get the shorefish or get the hunt out there. Now, the Brax is not seen right now by SongSong, and I really don't know if it's a good idea from BacT to show the militia. What is BacT doing? Have I mentioned that sometimes he's making absolutely unthinkably horrible decisions? What was the point of bringing his 6 HP scout here just to show the militia? Like, okay, now he poked down the scout that was equally bad from SongSong, but he could have actually snuck away with this drush without SongSong knowing. And now SongSong knows there is a drush coming his way. And obviously, SongSong lost his scout, which is not ideal, but the fact that he knows about the drush is extremely important here because he's prepared, although he isn't really bothering walling his vultures whatsoever, but at least he knows there is something coming his way. He's playing a standard 21 pop scouts over here, which is understandable given the fact that his second boar was late. In the meanwhile, BacT, I think he played Men-at-Arms last week. Now it seems like this might be something like a Drush FC even. Holy smokes, if this is a Drush FC, that's a very, very ballsy move from BacT, and we will see if that decision pays off. Militia is not really doing much. And in the meanwhile, SongSong, as I said, he's going to be playing with scouts. The thing is, however, that SongSong is a very aggressive player, so it is very possible that you are going to see SongSong just coming forward with towers with the scouts. If his opponent is making Drush FC happen, it's also possible that we're going to see villagers being sent out to hunt and shorefish, but who am I to tell? There come the villagers with the sneaky tower. Not really sneaky tower. They will actually be missed by the militias, so the militia doesn't know they're coming. And the thing is that this isn't going to be a really clean Drush FC from BacT, because this has to be 29-30 villagers before he goes up to feudal, because he doesn't really have a lot of farming eco. Remember, there was no deer pushed in, no shorefish whatsoever, and if you don't push in deer, you have to have like something like at least 9 or 10 farms. Like surround your TC and then 2 more, I think, is the rule of thumb for a Drush FC without deer. So this isn't really gonna be... I think BacT might be able to afford it, but he's 0 on gold right now, and here come the towers already from SongSong. Is he sending Villagers to stone? Nope, he's busy not dying, as he could pull the Villagers, take this fight. He's also having a scout over here as well, and there comes the tower. Now, BacT does have a gold at the back, but this is still a little bit scary for him. He knows about the tower coming up, but he can't really react to that. And I think the reason why this could be very problematic for BacT is because scouts could actually get into his eco. Now, if this Drush FC works out, he's gonna have a nice edge over SongSong over here, because I think it's gonna be Drush FC, potentially just Knights. Villagers should also be fighting over here because you don't want to lose that scout. You don't want to lose that scout. So, a lot of HP lost on those scouts over there. Those are pretty much useless scouts right now for SongSong. As BacT pulls Villagers to reroll this one. Was this a tower hop? This had to be a tower hop, right? This is walled off. T-West, if you're around, that's a tower hop, right? Holy smokes! T-West has a video on this one that tower hopping no longer works with stone walls. But what you can do, I remember that I didn't watch the entire video, but what you can do is when there is wall and resource, you can actually tower hop. I'm not sure if this was intentional from SongSong, but I can fully imagine it was. So now comes an offensive house over here. There is a range, so this wanted to be Drush FC crossbows, but here's the deal. If a tower goes up here from SongSong, it doesn't matter that you have archers or crossbows. If the tower goes up, these archers will not be able to pop out of the range because they will be killed instantly. And that's a tower hop. Look at that. That's a beautiful tower hop, by the way. So the thing is here for SongSong is that he needs an archer range, or needs a tower close to that range, because that would completely deny the archers from popping out of that range. That would be extremely helpful. You would also block a lot of farming space here. It looks like we're gonna have a sneaky tower coming up on this wood line, as SongSong is gonna go for the stronger food eco. Remember that because he's playing with the scouts, his food eco is actually gonna be pretty strong. So what that means is that he's not gonna be that much behind in terms of castle age timing. And look at that, his opponent isn't really going for a lot of archers right now. Wood control is gonna be a serious issue for BacT over here, who only has one wood line and he's about to lose it. In terms of BacT, he doesn't see the tower. I think he's suspecting there is a tower coming here. Maybe he has even seen the villagers coming in. And there is no overchop just yet. But you could also, I think that tree is actually something that you could chop down and get through, right? That is a straggler tree, I believe. Another tower comes in here, so that gold mine could be denied. And the thing is that BacT is gonna do Drush FC, but it seems like it's Drush FC Cav Archers and not Drush FC crossbows. The thing, however, is that right now BacT is sitting on 36 wood. Now this tower apparently is gonna get denied, but this is all that SongSong can dream about. The fact that he can delay his opponent into Cav Archers here is perfectly satisfactory, and he's not that far away from Castle Age himself. I think he could actually really make a case for making a couple of skirmishers. Defensive tower on the stone is nice as well, because eventually what you want to accomplish is Camel Archers here. That's a nice move from BacT, pulling the Voyager to take that tower down. And indeed, SongSong is gonna have to bail out on this. Here come the Cav Archers. I would have really liked the tower here from SongSong, to be honest. That's no longer an option anymore. So the question now is if SongSong is able to survive this early aggression. Really, that's the main question. You could make a case for dropping a house close to that tower so the Cav Archers have a tougher time running beneath it. Same thing, walling off your base like this, because the thing is that Cav Archers could actually try running past here and they would be able to get into your base. Early Cav Archers aren't amazing though, and that's something that should be considered. And even a couple of camos from SongSong could be something that gets considered here. Quick walls coming in here, Cav Archers trying to run past as skirmishers pop out. Those skirms do not have a lot of upgrades. In fact, they have 0 upgrades. But SongSong doesn't really need a lot of them, to be honest. He just needs a couple of them. Even +1/+1 skirms will be able to hold against early Cav Archers. They're not going to be amazing, but you don't need anything amazing, as Knights will be coming in here now for BacT. He's running out of farming eco quite obviously, let's say. And that's gonna be troublesome for him, because the thing is that there was a hole here. There was a hole here, and that means that SongSong's gonna have to abandon his gold mine at the back. He still has a gold mine on the front, right next to the opponent's base. As I think he will try buying himself up now. This is tricky for him to fight because those cav archers will be really annoying to fight against. Tries to quick wall those guys in, and that should more or less succeed. Another quick wall attempt that's gonna fail. Cav archers still running around. They can't really shoot because they have to keep running, otherwise they will just get killed. But they're acting pretty annoying, and there is increasing cav archer numbers from BacT, who's going for now knights as well. Another tower comes in here, but this is a pretty useless tower other than being able to knight his gold mine. And honestly, that's the safest gold mine that the SongSong has right now. You can really see the nomad, like the nomad roots of SongSong here. It's like, okay, whatever, I'm mining gold right next to my opponent. I'm fine with that. Anyways, he's going up to Castle Age here, and as I said, BacT wasn't really able to do much of a damage on SongSong. So I would say that BacT is still a little bit ahead, but if you consider the fact that SongSong might actually have the chance to go for camel archers here soon, that could be pretty scary for BacT. Now this is actually scary for SongSong though. Tries to reroll this one, nice reroll, 71 HP on that house, so that's not an awful lot. And that's one knight already, and that knight is actually going to be able to bash through those walls. SongSong, that's a 1 HP house, 1 HP house, the house gets broken through. Now this is panic mode for SongSong. Now this is full panic mode, and once again I feel like BacT is not playing well, but he always seems to have a little bit of an edge over the opponent. This time this knight actually came in extremely important for him, because that allowed BacT to get through the walls, and this might be game over here now. Because this feels like it's actually going to be more damage than what SongSong wants to have against him. And it's only a couple of skirms. And the hole is open, so more cav archers will keep flooding him. Still 1 minute away from Castle Age. So the Rush FC seems to pay off here for BacT. SongSong isn't going to give up on this one just yet, I believe. Especially because he's going to take a fairly acceptable engagement over here against those cav archers. But he's down by 10 villagers. He's down by 10. And that's brutal. And triple range cav archers from Hans is extremely tough to stop. Now, that being said, if SongSong is somehow able to get to camel archers, suddenly things will start becoming way, way better. But it is a much harder tech switch, or not really tech switch, but overall it's much harder to get into camel archers than it is to get into cav archers. Like you see, his stone count isn't even remotely close to compelling this one. And honestly, in this situation, do you know what the unit is that SongSong should be making? He should be making janitors. I'm not sure if he can actually do that in Castle Age, but maybe, I think he can, right? Berbers. No, he can do janitors in Castle, and he should be doing janitors. Because he needs mobility as well. Otherwise, his skirms are too slow for this. So, janitors would be the unit of choice here, honestly, for SongSong. He's gonna go lead skirm, and he's heavy on stone. Nice reactions over there from SongSong jumping into the tower. I also like that he's dragging away the villagers here so that the cav archers will move away from the tower. But there is more cav archers coming in there as well. So another villager could bite the dust. They survive for now. And SongSong has managed to reroll himself, and now it's elite skirms. Eventually BacT will come in with knights, but one thing that is worth considering that is that, sure, BacT could make knights. But can he realistically afford knights with 7 villagers on food? Not really. There's a 10 villagers lead, but what SongSong is playing for most likely is a more, like, just a better unit composition overall. But I like how BacT is using his cav archers now. He's splitting them up, forcing his slower moving opponent to move to the left and move to the right. So SongSong kind of needs to split his skirmishers in here. He just needs about 2 minutes or so until he's able to get to camel archers. Reactions are a little too slow here from him. And if those cav archers camp the bottom of the tower, once again, this could be a disaster. SongSong not reacting just yet. Another villager goes down. So it's now 12 villagers killed by BacT, make it 13. And we're getting to a stage where this lead is going to be way too big for SongSong to overcome. It's 12 villagers lead right now. Truth being told, BacT could have gold control issues if he loses this gold mine, but now he's diving in beneath the towers, could actually pick up more vouchers here. SongSong is not paying attention, and as I said, I feel like if BacT plays his best game, he's gonna be much better than SongSong. And so far, BacT has been playing much better than he played last week, so way less mistakes from him. It's a pretty clean play. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's relatively clean, using the Cav Archers the way they should be used. Not really taking direct engagement, he's more like raiding and trying to stretch out the defense of his opponent. In this one, now it is a dangerous amount of Cav Archers, 34 over there. Both players are lacking ballistics, but there's a couple of knights here intercepting the forward vouchers, and we mentioned that BacT's performance could even change within a single game. Let's see if he's getting conversions on those knights. One monk goes down, and the other monk is going to go down as well. 2 more monks in here, so it seems like the knights were expected here by BacT. Anyways, SongSong can afford a castle now. So this is now or never. He's got to drop a castle there. There it comes. And now he's going to go for Camel Archers. But here's the deal. If SongSong is able to get to a reasonable amount of Camel Archers, suddenly the fact that he's got a weaker eco is going to be a little bit more insignificant, especially because BacT's got 4 on food. So to see, look at the TC idle time increasing for BacT. With 4 on food, he's not able to sustain production. And even though he killed 15 vouchers from his opponent and never lost a single one, if his TC is idle for that long, eventually, SongSong is gonna catch up in terms of voucher numbers, takes rather decent engagement over here, picks off a lot of Cav Archers as he's trying to get that castle up. Now it's only a 13 vouchers lead because BacT's TCs are idle like crazy. BacT is kind of going for an all-in, and I mentioned that BacT is very, very inconsistent even within games, and we're starting to see why. Free TCs, but he's not even able to afford making vouchers on 1, let alone free TCs. He's floating a lot of wood as well, so if he actually started adding farms, then he would be able to start getting that eco back on track. That is a nice mangonel shot over there. And Camel Archers are on the way from SongSong. I feel like SongSong feels that there is blood in the water here, because it really seems like BacT is slowly losing the lead that he has had. He no longer has the better unit composition than his opponent has, as that mangonel is gonna get a nice connection over there. So he no longer has the advantage that he has had in the majority of the game. In fact, look at that, 4 on food still. BacT, what are you doing? 28 on food, 4 on food. Now he's adding farmers. But guess what? It's only a 12 villagers lead now. So that lead is actually shrinking more and more. And as I said, in late game, Berbers have the absolute counter to everything that Huns can bring in. Literally everything. Which means that, consider, like, it's absolutely amazing that SongSong was able to hold out the way he did. He was beaten to Castle Age massively, and usually on this map, whoever gets to Castle Age first wins the game. He was able to hold out. Now it seems like BacT is getting stoned for a castle. Don't really know why. Honestly, forward TC, indeed. I didn't even notice this. SongSong, what a legend. What a legend. He's actually TCing the primary gold of his opponent, and I would like to add something. BacT is short on gold. He's already taking this gold, and he's already taking this gold, and the Camel Archers will now just completely die over here because SongSong massively mismicroed them. Mangonel trying to get a shutout, that's gonna miss as well. It seems like I saw Elite Skirm coming in here for BacT, but he seems like he's really making much, and honestly, if you are SongSong here, you actually seriously consider stonewalling that gold in, because one of the things that BacT could be struggling for is gold. He's also struggling for food, and look at the villager count. It's now a 6 villagers lead only for BacT. He's free TCs, his opponent is only on 2, he beat his opponent to Castle Age by a massive margin, yet because his food eco was so bad, he wasn't really able to capitalize on that. All that SongSong needs to do is just keep his Camel Archer numbers up high. He's already having botkin, he's already having +2 defense on these guys. As Mangonel comes in here, and that TC idle time for BacT just increasing like crazy. Still, SongSong has to be careful. He shouldn't go for a premature aggression like this, for example, because that's still 37 Cav Archers against just 6 Camel Archers. And truth being told, most of the skirms from SongSong have been killed. Now, if you're BacT, do you know what you do? You still assume that you have the eco lead. There's going to be a ramp push coming in for this TC, but there will also be a castle from BacT. Now, considering that he is not even remotely close to Imperial, as this is a very dangerous move from SongSong here, opening up his entire base like that. Why did he do that? He might just let those Cav Archers in. I mean, I understand he's placing a TC, but that still means that his brace is gonna be breached completely. I don't understand why he had to delete all those walls. Maybe it was a misclick. But anyways, there's the castle coming up here for BacT. Eventually, he's 19 on stone. That's crazy. 19 on stone, man. What a legend. Anyways, that's actually a very, very decent fight over there for SongSong. If he even takes the hill with the Camel Archers and stops fighting up hills, that's going to be a very, very good fight for him. Knight is able to finish off the Mangonel. Camel Archers need to focus that down. But, as I said, the lead for BacT is shrinking to a point where SongSong takes over in terms of villager lead. And now these Cav Archers aren't really able to do much because these walls have been reinforced. Another castle could come in pretty soon for SongSong, which would mean that he could start overrunning his opponent in terms of Camel Arch numbers. He still is doing a pretty bad job preserving those numbers, but as I said, the ideal composition here is much, much better for SongSong. Now, one thing that... that's actually very sloppy over there. So, one thing that BacT could consider is maybe a Tarkan switch. Because a Tarkan switch is relatively easy to pull off with Huns, and it would be absolutely devastating against those elite skirms and Camel Archers. So, Tarkans here would actually make a lot of sense. Anyways, BacT's numbers are still much, much better. 50 army against 14. As another castle comes in here, and SongSong taps out. SongSong just resigned. What on the earth was this? He has random villagers beneath this TC, and I'm not going to lie, I don't understand what happened in this game at all, okay? The rush of scene to Cav Archer is not something that should really happen. And then SongSong lost so much in Feudal, yet actually managed to come back. If he resigns after losing 15 villagers in Feudal, I'm gonna say, okay, your strategy didn't work, I understand why you resigned. He was just about to launch a comeback, and really all he needed to do is just play a little bit more passive. Like, he ran out with his Cav Arch or Camel Archers here, he took a fight here, and he wasn't really pushed. All he needed to do is just keep his Cav Arch or Camel Arch numbers high. Just preserve those numbers and make sure that you don't lose villagers anymore. I think he was playing for gold control, and maybe he thought that his opponent is gonna get the gold. I think that's the only thing I can imagine, that he was playing to starve his opponent out of gold, but at this stage of the game, that's absolutely not viable. So he should have actually understood that technically he has the better composition. If he gets to 20 Camel Archers here, he eats the entire army from BacT. As Vilas is rating with 157 viewers. Thank you so much, Vilas. Hopefully, you had a nice stream. I saw what you played yesterday, but I will not talk about that here because that will be spoilers. And I haven't casted that for YouTube yet. So, yeah, thanks a lot for the raid. I hope you had a nice stream. As SongSong just went for a somewhat surprising resign over here. He lost a lot of villagers, but still, he was 67 villagers against 66, and he was Berbers with Camel Archers versus Cav Archers from Huns. So, the option was here for him. Military numbers are scary, but it's not like he's getting directly pushed either. So, BacT was playing this one really passive. He also missed a forward town center here from SongSong as he actually went to lame that gold. Alright, this means that we're going to the second home map of SongSong here. He's definitely trying some unconventional plays, but he's not playing as surprising as he did in the first round of this one, and BacT so far has been playing pretty consistent. There were some questionable / scary moments for him, but at the end of the day, BacT is playing much better than he did in the previous round, so found a little bit of a consistency for this week. Now, here's the deal. We have Huns gone for BacT, and the Berbers gone for his opponent. And the final home map will be Hideout. So Hideout. I think it technically could be Malay, although you might actually preserve that for Bay. But I think it is going to be Malay. Technically, Malay, Portuguese, Italians could all be used on islands. Either of these will be reasonable for Bay. So it's really hard to tell which of these would actually be used on hideout, but I would say Malay is a little bit more of a land map as well, or land civilization as well. So Portuguese, Italians would be perfect for Bay and islands. In fact, you would probably go for Mongols if you have it available still for Bay. Either Italians or Portuguese. I think the reason why BacT picked Italians and Portuguese at the same time is because Italians are so frequently sniped because of islands that you need a second water sieve. And that's what I assume is what is causing him to pick Portuguese. But at the end of the day, I think he's just going to play Italians or Portuguese on islands, Malay on hideout, and Mongols will be for Bay. How could you justify Mayans for hideout? Technically, yes. It's not a bad civilization for that. I'm not saying it's the best civilization I've seen for hideout, but that feels absolutely legitimate. Cumans could be decent for an eco-heavy approach. Bulgarians could be sort of a surprise pick here for potentially men-at-arms towers, like fast men-at-arms towers. Celts for a Hoang rush, so I feel like SongSong's civilizations are all somewhat viable for hideout here. And we'll see if he's going to have a little bit of an out-of-the-box thinking over here as well, and goes for something that is unexpected. After this series, we'll have V versus Dragonstar, Jordan versus Kaposh, and Hart versus Rubenstock. So. What I need to check is when exactly V versus Dragonstar starts, because I believe that based on when it actually starts, that's going to decide if those are live games or recorded games. V versus Dragonstar started about 10 minutes ago, so it's probably going to be recorded games that we're casting over there. But after that, we might even have a bit of a break, because Jordan versus Kaposh only starts in 3 hours. And I would think that based on what we're seeing in this series, and based on what we are seeing or what I expect in the Dragonstar vs. Vivi series, I feel like this isn't going to last for 3 hours if we cast this set and the other, but who knows, maybe we're going to see a reverse sweep here from SongSong. We're going to hideout. Alright, so BacT is playing Malay in blue on the right, and left side is going to be Mayans for SongSong in red. No major surprise about either of these civs. And honestly, I think Mayans is sort of, I'm not going to say a counter pick to Malay, but it's actually relatively close to that. Although, it depends. So, the thing is that Malay Arbs, or overall the Malay Archer play, isn't really going to work out against Plumed Archers or Eagles. But Malay can still play with the Forced Levy Swordsman. So, a full Eagle switch isn't something that's completely viable for SongSong here either. I feel like I like Mayans here a little bit better. So, Plumed Archers and the Eldorado Eagles are a very, very scary combination. Obviously, that's just late game. But I feel like, I think, although it depends, the Eagles will have a tough time against potentially Forced Levy Swordsmen or even Karambit Warriors, right? Karambits should be eating up the Eagles, because the Eagles will do a lot of overkill damage on them, and the Karambits are just so good at killing infantry. So, yeah, Eagles wouldn't really work out here. The real question is, what can BacT do against Plumed Archers? Yeah, that's the question. That's exactly what I'm asking. What can you do? Like, Bombard Cannons isn't really viable. I think they have Onager, though, right? Malay at least have Onager. I'm not sure about S, so I don't think that they have Siege Onager. Yeah, they do have Onager. They have Heavy Scorpion. So technically, Onagers are an option. Heavy Scorps could also be something. But we'll see if this game actually goes until then. Because so far, we haven't seen a lot of long games in this one. So, Malay on the right side for BacT in blue. Left side is going to be, as I said, SongSong is Mayans in red. He is free on wood only, surprisingly. As BacT will go 4 on wood. That's going to be a standard FC over here. And what else do we have? We have the deer on the outside. Pretty standard from SongSong is to keep the gate open with the sheep and then push in the deer. It's actually very cute, by the way, that in a game in 2021, look at this sheep. I know that this is capture age and whatnot, but still, just look at that silhouette. It's actual pixels. It's so cute. Look at that. It's probably because the sheep model isn't really detailed, but it's actually very, very cute. That the silhouette of that sheep is like actual pixels. I could draw this in paint. Alright, so it's only 3 on wood for SongSong, so something is gonna be happening over here for him, because technically I would expect a fast castle, but 3 on wood for that is a little too low with our Mayans. But still, he's pushing the deer nice and comfy, and now he is going for the berries. Other side, it is 4 on wood from our Malay player, and BacT is also pushing in deer. He already pushed in 2 of them, as here comes the 3rd one and the 4th one. And second boar, he isn't taken it yet, and you already have the second boar coming in here for SongSong. The timing is a little too early, still 50 food left on the other boar, but it's not like it's the end of the world or anything like that. So boar is actually gonna stay over here for a moment. There was someone on AoE Zone actually asking how you can actually keep the boar under your TC, and really the trick here is that when it actually starts walking back, you just shoot it with 1 vulture and then you garrison. That's basically how you do it. Anyways, it seems like SongSong is having a bit of a trouble pushing the deer here, because one of them actually went back. Now it's gonna be a double deer push, double deer push, double deer push. Turns into a single deer push over here. Now, one of the tricks that you can use here is that you can move away from the gate with the sheep to make sure that the deer can't walk back. So the way that you do this is that when you actually have the deer inside, you take this sheep and move back, so the gate closes and the deer cannot just run back. I think TUS also has a video on how to push deer, right? So, like, the actual pushing deer through gates, tricks, and whatnot. So anyways, now we have 5 on a wood for SongSong, and he's not going up yet, so we're getting closer and closer to a fast castle from him as well. As the deer, the final deer to be precise, is coming in here. What is interesting is that SongSong is not making farms. And if you were to play a fast castle here, you would make at least 1 or 2 farms. So that's what I'm surprised in. Same thing for BacT though, as BacT is clicking up. That is 22 villagers up with Malay. That is a very, very fast cast or feudal age from BacT. Which makes me wonder if we're going to see straight archers from him. Because it kind of seems like this is not going to be a man-at-arms opening by any means. And 22 is the LA push timing. So indeed we could see the 20 elephants in 20 minutes game. By the way, can we just give a shout out to BacT who didn't... BacT. Really? Look what you found in that little darkness. Didn't you actually realize that you were missing your second board on the map where it's impossible to lame it? Come on, man. Did I actually mention that BacT has some very, very, very disastrous moments in his gameplays? This is one of those. He was casually playing 1 boar as if he got lamed. But dude, on this map it's impossible to get your boar lamed because you have it inside your walls all the time. And he was just like, okay, whatever. And whatever build you're doing, there is nothing that justifies just keeping that boar for later. I don't know. There was a show match yesterday, and I think it's also going on today, by Ellie, who is... it's a charity show match for, I think, animal rescue services or so. And it is a vegetarian show match. What that means is that players aren't allowed to eat sheep, boar, and hunt, I think. I think it was Viper playing against someone, and we all said, I think, Mbia versus Doubt or so. That's it. This is what it reminded me on. Like, it's like a vegetarian gameplay. You're not eating the boar. But how did you even miss that if you're BacT? Holy smokes. I'm so sad. Anyways, it looks like a fast castle play over here from SongSong. Now, the thing is that he's on stone with 4, which means that this is gonna be a castle. The question is, considering that BacT has not been doing anything to contest the outside, you could make a case for castle dropping him. A castle here would be pretty nice, in fact, because you would deny a golden stone with it. Or a castle here would also be pretty cool because you would deny the primary stone. So castle drop is technically possible for SongSong here. He clicks up first, but obviously Malay can catch up pretty easily here if you're BacT, so he should have no trouble with this. Imagine if he actually had that boar before. He's also a little low on gold because I think he went for loom. No, he didn't go for loom. How is he so low on gold? That's also a little bit of a mystery to me. Just making the second building. He could already click up resource-wise. It's a matter of not having the buildings for it. But it seems like SongSong is just going to wall his gate off over here. Wall behind. He's basically walling behind everywhere. If this is a failed elephant push build, I don't think that BacT has a clear backup strat. I don't think so either. In fact, on many instances, I am really wondering if BacT even has just a general strategy going into a game. Sometimes it kind of feels like he's just making things up on the fly. So there's a range. Great. As BacT clicks up, but he's still gonna be 1 minute behind. And indeed, we're probably gonna have a plan B. From BacT over here, second range is 1. This might be scouted by SongSong. But SongSong is almost up. Let's see where that castle goes. He might actually buy the last 100 stone he needs. Or just wait it out. Based on the fact that he's not able to drop the castle right away, I would be tempted to say this is not going to be a forward castle. But who am I to say that? Who am I to say that? Is it going to be a 4-voyager forward castle? The reason why you call it 4-ward castle is because you make it with 4 voyagers. Anyways, BacT will see the obvious over here. And this might turn into one of the biggest disasters of the tournament. That's gonna be archers. Lord Doubt, smile upon us. This castle is like going to be a big no-no. No, forward siege workshop only. Even better. So at least the siege workshop might go up, which, if it goes up, it's gonna be a completely different scenario. But there is a big if here, and there's a big eagle scout here. And the thing is that the opponent's scout isn't strong enough. This is going up, boys. This is going up. Uh-oh. That's enough stone for a castle. And the eagles do make sense because you're up against a couple of archers at the beginning. This is not a lot of eagles. This is just an auxiliary force to help this push out. And here comes the castle drop. This is a genius play from SongSong. He made a couple of eagles because he probably anticipated his opponent going for archers. Especially with that timing, if you think about that. With that feudal timing, I think that he assumed there's gonna be eagles. Now, there is the minor problem of eagle scouts dying easily to crossbows, and having 4 voyagers only on that castle isn't going to be satisfactory. And because this is a battering ram in the first place, that's going to just go for the siege workshop. Scorpion is out, but Scorpion's gonna have a tough time dealing with the crossbows. Here comes the crossbow play. The eagle here could pop out as well and get some shots on those crossbows. You could actually make a case for putting your villagers on this side of the castle. As the siege workshop does go down, and there is a ram also here soaking up the arrow fire, now knocking on the gates, and the castle is gonna go up. The castle is gonna go up. In fact, the gate was open for a moment. Doesn't feel like it actually matters. And SongSong going for full aggro mode. Maybe we have not seen the last of SongSong in this tournament, because I'm not sure what BacT was planning, but the consistency issues start to matter over here. He had a full disaster Dark Age with like I'm not even sure how it was possible for him to miss that boar. And with that stone count, this is not just gonna be a single forward castle. That's gonna be double forward castle, my boys. And that second forward castle is gonna come up somewhere around over here. He might not even make a single plumed archer, as I said that there's a couple of them coming out. But with the ranges going down, BacT is gonna have a tough time actually getting army on the field to fight this one. And the thing is that I have to say that SongSong is much more prepared strategy-wise than BacT is. BacT is trying to play standard. There's a counter castle now. That is a reasonable idea overall. And that is going to hold this aggression from this side. That is true. So SongSong is going to have to find a different angle of attack. There's a 6 Vultures lead right now for BacT. It mostly comes from the fact that there was less idle time for him on his TC. And he's also melee. However, as I said, SongSong can drop another castle, and theoretically, his castle is within the range of the opponent's castle, which means that this ram could actually start knocking on that castle as the vulture goes down early over here. So technically, you could try ram pushing this castle down, because when your castle is within the range of the opponent's castle, you can try a ram push, because you can just kill the vultures that are trying to kill the rams. It's also possible, yeah, that's totally possible that the BacT doesn't want to reveal his strategies just yet, because he wants to go for a main event. But that doesn't change the fact that, for example, he didn't find his, or didn't use his second board in Dark Age, which obviously is a disaster. Now, SongSong wants to imp this one. This is a full arena clown gameplay here. He sold all his stone because he wants to imp, and that's a very good idea here. The problem is that, oh, that was a big mango shot over there. So, the thing is that SongSong is playing this just like Arena. You go forward castle and then hope that basically trebs and that castle is going to save you. Because if your opponent is archers, that might actually be completely viable. I think BacT wants another castle for himself. He's already also on 2 TCs, but BacT is not going to be up to Imperial anytime soon, and his opponent will. So that means that SongSong is going to be the first to go for trebs. If he can trap that castle down, that's going to be very disastrous for BacT. Imperial Age is on the way in a moment. He will probably sell a bit of a stone more, and then he will go up. The prices are actually pretty nice for him. Food price is actually pretty high, but wood selling prices are actually pretty decent, and he will probably sell a bit more wood and maybe a bit of a stone and go up to Imperial. As the villagers here are trying to bash that mangonel, I'm not sure what BacT is thinking, because those plumed archers will actually be able to just kill the villagers here. So, that's also a somewhat questionable moment. Trading free villagers from mangonel, especially if the scorpion dies as well, this was less than ideal for BacT, I would say. He's taking the mangonel down, sure, but 1 scorpion and 2 or 3 villagers versus 1 mangonel may not have been as good as BacT has initially thought. Anyways, houses are also going down here, even though BacT isn't really having a bit of a trouble with that. And now you're just waiting. If you're SongSong, you're massing plumed archers, you're waiting for your trebs. And the idea is that you just want to have a couple of plumed archers and trebs on the field. One thing we didn't notice is this counterattack. I was looking for the eagles, and there is 2 villagers biting the Dust Knight's defensive tower from SongSong, though, to prevent that archer push. And these double layers are actually helping out quite immensely over here, because they prevent the archers from breaking through. In fact, if you're SongSong, you need to make a wall somewhere around over here, like 1 more houses, or like, not 1 more houses, like 1 more house here and 1 more house over here, to prevent the crossbows from breaking in and running past the TC here. Indeed, SongSong is even missing fletching over here on his archers and buildings, which obviously isn't helping. But you have to keep in mind that here, he's playing for a trap. His opponent isn't really far away from Imperial. In fact, if BacT just sells his stone, he's gonna be able to go up, I believe. And Malay need like 2 minutes to go into Imperial. Which means that one of the reasons why I love Malay as a civilization is because your reactions can be really fast with Malay. So, you see that your opponent is in Imperial, you buy yourself up as well, and you can get to Imperial much faster than your opponent will. So, or with other civilizations, for example. So, other civs would need 3 minutes to react to this one. It's going to be 2 only. And also, indeed, this eagle has been in this ram for the last 10 minutes. And you see, BacT, upon seeing this opponent is Imperial, immediately reacts, selling resources, buying himself up to Imperial. And I feel like if BacT reaches Imp, he's gonna be able to hold this one, because he can go for Bombard Cannon, and Bombard Cannon is gonna win this one for him in the Trap War. Mangonel versus Mangonel, 1-for-1 trade overall. Now he has to hold out here, that is definitely part of the truth here. And the first trap is already out. SongSong needs to keep adding traps, like, that's the key ingredient here, but he's really struggling for resources. And it's only 1 minute away now from Imperial for BacT. Eagle tries to finish off the Scorpion, and so he will. As another castle comes in here for BacT, he didn't actually sell his stone, which is somewhat surprising. Plumed Archer is taking a pretty decent beating over here, but the Eagle pops out, and the Eagle could take down the Mangonel and the Scorpion. SongSong still just 1 trap though. He needs a lot more because he needs to push fast. He needs like 2 or 3 traps here, like ASAP. Anyways, this castle is also going up, and I feel like BacT is gonna have a hold here, because he could pull 10 villagers to repair that castle against the trap. In fact, it's sort of a mistake from him that he's not doing that. He should be pulling a lot more villagers to repair that castle. Even if that goes down, he's gonna have another castle for his traps. But the fact that he might lose the Siege Workshop, and the fact that he might lose the castle, may actually make it a much harder defense than it should be. Because without the Siege Workshop, without a castle, you're not gonna be able to hold against traps, because you don't have bombard cannons and you don't have traps. That was a fast university for immediate chemistry from BacT, so indeed the plan is to go for bombard cannons. Right now it's 8 villagers repairing, which is enough against 1 trap inside his factory for a second one. But here come the traps already from BacT, and here he still is in the danger of losing that castle. He needs to pull a little bit more villagers, and now he decides that he's gonna have to bail on this. And the next step for SongSong, obviously Zico isn't really great, but Mayan army is actually pretty cheap, so you could still make a case for just having a little less villagers and going for a very, very aggro push here. So if you can take down that Siege Workshop, what you're going to achieve is that your opponent is not going to be able to get bombard cannons immediately. So archery range going down over here. Eco is still heavily in the favor of BacT, but you have to consider that he's losing a lot of his base, and if this trap actually takes down, as indeed we have seen BacT losing a trap here, and this is getting worse and worse for him. It's only 10 army, and that 10 army is over here, basically. Right now, the entire army that BacT has on the field here is a Mangonel, and he's getting a bombard cannon out. It's sort of sloppy from SongSong that he's not targeting the Siege Workshop. Had he taken down the Siege Workshop, there would be no bombard cannons from BacT, and truth being told, now BacT is forced to rebuild his TC here. And the Plumed Archers could indeed just dive in and snipe the bombard cannons as well. Siege Workshop goes down, and really, the problem that the BacT is going to be facing here is that he will just not have the resource to rebuild the base as fast as he's losing it, actually. And now, he's forced to run, so suddenly that 20 villagers lead that he's possessing is no longer relevant, I would say. In fact, that TC is going to melt faster than it actually is finished. So it's not even going to go up, right? Mangonel tries to take a shot here. Bombard cannons are also in. Indeed, TC getting destroyed immediately. Did those traps just miss the shot, or what happened there? They should have finished it off. Yeah, BacT, if BacT keeps alive the bombard cannons, that's a completely different scenario. BacT needs those bombard cannons right now, and the fact that the TC is still standing is huge. 1 trap goes down, Mangonel also gets a good shot in. Another trap could be going down here, and as I said, those bombard cannons could be life-saving here for BacT, as it seems like SongSong is preparing for a long game here, but if BacT is able to stabilize that 17 villagers lead that he's possessing is soon going to materialize. Still, in theory, SongSong got the chance. He's healing up the Plumed Archers inside the castle. Needless to say is the fact that his Plumed Archers are so important. He could try thinking about an Eagle switch here, because his opponent is so low in army, it's just bombard cannons and mangonels and trebs, that an Eagle switch could be viable. The problem is that I'm not sure if SongSong can afford an Eagle switch right now. He's also housed that 83 population. The trebs need to kind of take down these houses, because these houses prevent the Plumed Archers from running in and sniping those bombard cannons. Oh, nice split over there, but still eating some of the damage. With Bracer, the Plumed Archers are actually pretty decent against the Mangonels, but still, they're dying to the Mangonel. There is way too much firepower over here, as now it is SongSong who is in the need of setting up those traps, but takes down one. That was a very, very nice hit, but he also loses one in the process. Plumed Archers will once again try to dive in. Mangonel goes down, which means that the Plumes can now dive in on the Bombard Cannons. This is the moment for SongSong. He's gonna have to take down those Bombard Cannons, otherwise he's just going to lose his traps in here. So Plumed Archers have to dive in. They should have no trouble taking down the Bombard Cannons, and that would be very, very sloppy for BacT. That would be awfully sloppy, even though SongSong is also going to lose all but one of his traps. But still, 3 Bombard Cannons for 3 traps might be something that you can actually even say yes to if you are SongSong. So, Plumed Archer is eating the ARPs here, and like, SongSong is still pretty much in this game. One of the reasons why is because BacT is floating a lot of resources. That castle needs to stay up though for SongSong though. He's out of stone and he's pulling the villagers to take that trap down. And the castle does go down. That is once again a step back for SongSong. And I feel like every game that I'm seeing SongSong in this series, I'm just seeing that he's always just a little too short of winning this one. The Arabia game, taking one bad fight and losing his army. The Slopes game, taking too much damage just before reaching Castle Age and getting to his ideal unit composition against Huns. This game, things like, for example, losing the traps to the Bombard Cannons before he could snipe them. Things like losing this castle before he could finish it off. And now I feel like, unless there is an ego switch happening here, and it seems like there isn't, there is Arbalest now pushing in here as well. I feel like SongSong's over here. This push is stalling out big time. And there is not really any follow-up here for SongSong. He's 10 military. He really played well. It's a matter of just coming up short a little bit, just a tiny bit in every one of these games. And I have to say that we have seen a better version of BacT today. So it was an okay BacT. Wasn't perfect, like disasters, like for example, not seeing that war in Dark Age was full disaster. But now this game should be over, because now the thing is that even though SongSong has caught up in terms of villager numbers, we are already seeing what seems to be forced levy swordsmen from BacT. It has to be, because, or maybe Karambits. He's preparing, like, I think he knows that there could be an ego switch coming, but in reality, what we could see is the Maya unique tech, to be honest. And the thing is that swordsman will be good against both of those. The condition to beat the Mayan, or the Malian, not Malian, Malay. I'm confusing civs here. So the condition to beat the Malay swordsman with the Mayans is basically having either archers or plumed archers. And plumed archers are preferred because your own arbs will just be pretty much even to the Malay arbs here. The castle is dying, and that means that we're not even going to see the double... What is the tech even called? The double archer. Or not double archer, but the double arrow projectile thingy for the skirmisher upgrade. Oh yeah, the Hulch javelins. Yeah, true. Yeah, we are not going to see the Hulch javelins, unfortunately, over here. And now the Arbalest Bombard Cannon is going to be clearly superior to skirmishers here, especially because those skirms are only having +1 defense, whereas these arbs are almost fully upgraded. So now it's full panic mode from SongSong, but I feel like the fact that it's 30 military against 5 is telling you the truth. Indeed, BacT edges out to victory here in what was a rather convincing play from him. Yet we also have to add the fact that, as I said, in every game, SongSong came up just a little too short. All of these games, like, if SongSong is a little bit luckier, has a little bit better execution, this could have been all games for SongSong as well. If the Arabia game that he takes, he has a better fight, just a slightly better fight, waits a little bit more whatsoever, he's a little bit luckier with the conversions, that could have been a completely different game. The Slopes game, if he doesn't lose those villagers while he was going up to Castle Age, maybe has a little bit better re-walling, or starts walling that part of, or starts adding a second layer to that wall a little earlier, then he could have actually had a good chance of coming back into that game. This game as well, if this castle doesn't die, or if he doesn't lose the 4 traps in that, maybe if he doesn't eat a big mangonel shot to lose his plumed archer numbers, small things, but these small things decide the outcome of series here, and that means that BacT is going to march into the next round with a 3-0 outing over here.